Hello everyone and welcome to another video in this channel. Today we're going to start with our portfolio review. I know you guys love this series, I love it as well, and today we're going to be taking a look at some of the portfolios from everyone. Now we're going to start with the portfolios from the Discord channel. In case you guys are not aware, we now have a Discord channel. You can find the information down here in the description. You're free to join. You have specific channels for all of the different softwares. We got like work in progress stuff, and I'm also going to be admitting or supporting all of the portfolio reviews that we get right here. So as you can see here in Showcase, we have portfolio reviews, and in this case, we're going to be taking a look at 3 artists from Discord. So let's start with the Phil. Right here, Philip Schmidt. He is a freelance photogrammetry environment artist from Hagen, Germany. And let's take a look. So first impression out of the bat, this looks really, really nice, my friend. Now, I think your specific like specialty is really interesting because I haven't seen a lot of people that are focusing on 3D scanning. And nowadays, with a lot of the really cool tools that we have available, 3D scanning is going to be a huge thing that we're going to be using to speed up our processes. So instead of having to do, for instance, this tree trunk by hand, you can just go to the woods, or in this case, it seems like it's a street, take a couple of pictures and get them ready. Now, here's where I would... The hell is this? Oh, I'm opening this in big? Wow. Okay. So here's what I would recommend, my friend. I can see that you have a lot of really cool scans, and I can see that you're properly labeling them as raw scans. The important thing about the 3D scanning procedure is that you need to make sure that you can show that you can transform this into a asset that's going to be used inside of film or inside of games or something, okay? So I don't see a lot of like this one right here. This one's process, which is great. So this is what you want to see. You want to be able to see like this rock right here and be able to tell how nicely were you able to bring it down in terms of topology in order or so that we can see it inside of a game. Now, you do have a lot of really cool things like this thing right here, the control box, this like old axe, this like propane elements. Retopologize. I know retopology is not super fun, but you have some really, really nice scans. Like, look at the detail on this thing. This is amazing. This is really, really, really cool, but it's not usable, right? So if you want to get a job, I'm pretty sure you already have like probably a job or something, but if you want to be seen or I would say... This sounds a little bit harsher than I am intending it to sound. It's not that I'm trying to be harsh, but if you want your stuff to look more professional, that's the right way to phrase it. If you want your stuff to be more professional, you need to provide the processed elements, okay? Not just the raw scans. These are great scans. I can see that you really took the time to get some really nice pictures. I don't see any light bleed. Like the textures look very, very nicely exposed and everything. So these are great, great assets. Make sure you can transfer them into something that we can use inside of an engine. Also, all of these textures right here, like these tileable things, I would probably combine them into a single element. That way you can focus on having a little bit less elements. You do have some really nice ones, like this one right here. This is really, really nice. Oh, yeah, there you go. So you are doing this for Quixel. That's great, man. That's great. So yeah, I mean, if you're already working for Pixel, man, then you're already on the right place. These guys are the best guys for 3D processing and photo scanning. So that will be my only advice from what I can see right here. Maybe throw in some more interesting lights for some of these materials because they look really good and they could look a little bit better with some other stuff. And another thing that I would suggest, I can see a lot of like industrial and like dirty looking things. Maybe try doing some scans of clean things, which I know can be really tricky because the surfaces shine a little bit more and it can get a little bit more complex. And also maybe scans of bigger objects because I see a lot of like small little props. So that would be my suggestion. But this is amazing. And for everyone else looking at this stuff and thinking that this is the future, this is one of the things that where 3D is going to be evolving. In the next couple of years, a lot of the stuff that we would normally do like traditionally by modeling, sculpting and stuff like that, we're going to be using photogrammetry, guys. So you definitely want to get and learn all of this stuff. And talking about learning, I'm going to have a small little commercial here to show you that we just released our newest course at the AAA like prop production for games. So this one was done by our good friend Arash RF. He has been doing a lot of amazing stuff here for the channel as well, even though you don't see him daily. Let me move my camera so you can see Arash right there. So yeah, he's going to be using Blender. It's for beginners. So if you're completely new to the 3D industry, this could be a really good starting point for your career because you're going to see the whole process. And that's one of the things that I always talk about. You guys need to know the whole process for production. It's not enough to be great at sculpting or great at texturing. You need to take something from absolutely nothing, from scratch, all the way to the final piece. So if you want to check this out, we have 90% a discount going on right now in Udemy. You can also check the discount down here. Let's move now to a Vermit. So Gotham. I had a friend who's had your saying name. He said it was pronounced Gotham. You are gonna correct me in the what's the word, in the comments if that's true. So okay, 4 pieces. Now this is interesting because I see a lot of range. That means that I can see a lot of things going on here. So for instance, this Grim Reaper right here, I can see that you use like some sort of like photo scanning. Oh, there you go. So you got most of the elements, I guess, from like the internet, and you create this composition. It's not the best, to be honest, and compared to some of the 3D work that I'm seeing right here, I would probably leave this one out, okay? So if you call yourself a 3D artist, that doesn't mean that you don't need to know Photoshop. I know Photoshop and I use it extensively, but you should also know a little bit about other things. So, or actually, rather, what I wanted to say is, even though you know Photoshop, that doesn't mean that you're going to be a Photoshop artist, and this is a little bit more into like the concept art side of things. Now, this is a game-ready T-Rex model. Let's take a look. Topology-wise, this is definitely game-ready. It's low poly. That's nice. Texture-wise, I think you did a great job. Look at that detail, dude. This detail is it's really good, but something happened on the retopology process, I think. I'm not sure if you smoothed the character or something, but I feel like we lost a lot of the very interesting things that you had right here. Because I am seeing a little bit of that on the textures, but everything looks very soft. I would probably increase the resolution just a little bit in certain areas, especially to capture some of the folds, like this folds that you have right here. I would expand the extra little amount of polygons right there, because this is not a bad sculpt. Now, I don't think this is like super anatomically correct. Actually, this week I've been working at the museum. You guys know we have a VR experience over there, and these 2 past weeks have been the busiest, or are the busiest of the year. So I've been there every single day, and I've seen a lot of like dinosaur skulls. So I do feel like the proportions are a little bit off, but it can pass as a nice like T-Rex dinosaur. But yeah, like I don't know. Like something looks weird on the retopology process. I think you smoothed things too much. I would probably use the trick that I've shown before. I've used this on the Fog Link series. So if you want to check it out, it's there on the playlists. And you can use the conform tool to capture more of the detail, because you did an amazing job on the sculpture right here, but it's not really captured on the like element right here on this character. So yeah, see if you can improve that, because this is a really nice piece. Oh, we're going to take a look at David in just a second. Let me go back to yours because there's a couple more missing. There we go. This one's really cool. I really like this one. I think it's a nice presentation. I don't love the render. I like the ground. The ground is fine. A little bit too displaced, I would say. I will probably bring the displacement down to a little bit. But the backgrounds, again, not ideal, not really helping you. I would prefer you do, like, you did something cleaner like this, because this just looks like a Photoshop image and the perspective doesn't match. Some of the elements don't match, so the light doesn't really match. So you're gonna get a slightly different result. So it's perfectly fine to have like this sort of like plain background and just like the nice textures of the element. You don't even need the ground, because I know this ground is probably from Megascans or something. So you could get away with just doing this element right here, like just like this. Maybe an infinite background. I usually don't like having this like hard line on the floor. That's why I do a lot of infinite backgrounds. It just looks a little bit more presentable and professional. That would be my advice for this piece. And finally, this one right here. Okay, I'm just making sure that we don't have any not safe for work stuff. The detail on the skin is okay. The forms on the face, though, they need a little bit more work. It's not bad. You're getting to, again, to a really nice detail. And the snakes look really nice. I like the glowing thing that you did here. But yeah, like the neck right here, the neck usually doesn't do that. Let me show you. It's a very common mistake, and I used to do or make this mistake a lot. Let me get my tablet ready. Give me a second. So when drawing necks, a lot of people, what they do is they'll draw the face and they'll do this. Okay, they'll draw this like curved line of the neck to connect the neck, and that's not how the neck works. Usually when you see a face from the front, you're gonna have a really straight line going down for the neck, and then at an angle, you're gonna have the trapezius muscle creating this sort of thing. See how we don't have a round thing? It's straight and down, okay? And if you take, or if we try to like rotate the face, imagine that we're rotating the face like sideways. A very good way to draw like perspective, necks in perspective, is by imagining a cloth like hanger, like this, which is like a triangle. You draw the triangle, but then you draw the lines right here, and that's gonna give you like the angle that you're looking for to get like the proper perspective. Okay, so it's like if we had this like cloth hanger down here or back here on the face. Again, when you see it from the front, it should be the face, 2 lines going down for the neck, and then the trapezius muscle, and then of course the deltoids, neck, and everything else. I'm not a concept artist, so don't take all of this advice, but this is important. You don't want to have a neck doing this. You don't see this anywhere. Like even if you think about like anime faces, where they're like super big faces, they usually have a very, very small necks, and like this, okay? Like always straight and a little bit like this. Yes, you can later on like smooth that a little bit, but you should have a very like straight and then curved line right there. So you can see here, the necklace is kind of like breaking that, because I can see that you were doing a little bit of that, but then the necklace is not helping with those silhouettes. This shot right here looks way, way better. Here, I can definitely see some proportions going a little bit off on the torso, like the hips of the snake should be wider, considered like she's really wide on the shoulders. So there are some proportions that you might want to check right there. There is an artist that I love following. It's called Artisan Guild, and he has done some Medusas, and he's a little bit more stylized. So you can see it right here, like really big hips, really big breasts and stuff like that. But you can see how he manages the proportions of the characters. That's what I would suggest you look for, okay? So that you can get something that looks a little bit more balanced. Look at this one right here. This is not from him. This is, I think, from Magic the Gathering or something. But look at the size of the extension of the shoulders. You don't wanna make her like super broad shoulder and then super narrow waist. So there are some proportion issues here on the body, but the render actually looks really nice. Like this render right here, I really like. I think this one works a little bit better than this like glowy snake thing. I understand what you were going for with the snakes, but from a presentation perspective, the second one works a little bit better. And cool, that's it for you, my friend. Let's now go with David Sarn, who's been on the live streams as well. David, so there's one very important thing that I'm seeing here, and that is the fact that most of the things that I'm seeing are from tutorials. And I've mentioned this before, doing or following a tutorial is great. That's how we learn. I learned that way when I was a student. I actually keep on learning that way when I'm exploring new tools and new softwares. So learning from tutorials is perfect, but you need to apply it, okay? So for instance, this one as your ZBrush, or one of the ZBrush courses that we did, that's fine, good presentation. Maybe bring the little like sparks and stuff a little bit lower. We don't need as many. You definitely did improve for Thyros, like the Tiefling character. I think the proportions are a little bit off. He looks a little bit like short in certain areas, but in general, I like what you were able to get. I don't think I rendered the smoke, and the reason why I didn't is precisely because of this. Like, you will get something that looks a little bit weird. So unless you're actually rendering smoke, I would probably just take that one out, to be honest. And then, oh, there you go. You got more stuff right here. Why didn't you show this? Okay. I think I can see why you didn't show that. That's fine. So this robot animation, that's good. It's the introduction to Maya 2023. Looks good. Nice. Nice, nice. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool, man. I always like when students are able to finish the whole tutorial, because there's a lot of people that get the tutorials but don't finish them due to a lot of different reasons. So seeing the final results, it's great. So now what you need to do, my friend, and this is what I meant, like for instance, this one right here, I think you nailed the concept. This is really, really good. You did a great job on this character. I love it. Looks really nice. Use the exact same principles that I taught you, but now you do your own gladiator. You know what I mean? So you do your own concept. And here's the thing. I know, because I've seen and I've talked a little bit to you. I know that you do a lot of AI stuff, which is all of this thing right here. I know there's a lot of different opinions about whether AI should be or should not be allowed. We're going to leave that for another time. But here's the thing. You do know how to use AI, and you do know how to use AI to create something that looks interesting, like this rabbit mixed with Warhammer, which looks really, really cool, really interesting. So use AI and create your own versions of stylized gladiators, and then use that to create your own version of the 3D model of the gladiator. That's gonna give you so many points as a designer, because even though you might not be the designer of the actual concept, because I know we're using AI, that means that you can grab a concept, any concept, and translate it into something that looks really cool. This shot right here, beautiful, by the way. This looks really, really, really nice. So yeah, keep on going, man. Again, we'll probably leave the AI discussion for another time, because I know these topics can be very debated. I'm just focusing on the 3D for now. Where is it? There we go. Finish projects. There we go. Again, the donut. Everyone who's seen Blender Guru has seen the donut, so that's fine. This one actually is actually nice. I like this one. I think you could benefit from getting or doing a nice render from this, and I know you know how to do renders. So it was 2 months ago. It's perfect time to just like do it again, just render it and get a nice representation for this asset because it's a really cool asset. Now I'm not sure if this is like retopologize and stuff, but it's a nice exercise actually. I might steal this one for another thing, like this sort of like dummy thing. It's a really nice exercise to teach someone ZBrush. So I might take inspiration from this one for another course. So yeah, that's it for this one, guys. Now we're gonna jump onto Google Drive. So if you did not submit in the Discord channel, don't worry. We're gonna continue here in the what's the word in Google Drive. So we're gonna start with Michael with Rock, and we're gonna go probably halfway down the list. If you're watching this video today, which should be Friday, I will leave this open, and since I'm going to be working on the museum again tomorrow on Friday when this airs, you will have a little bit of time to submit your portfolio. So if you want to see your stuff reviewed tomorrow, Saturday, make sure to hit or to go down here to the links and submit your portfolio, okay? So we're going to start with Michael, and let's take a look at what he's got to say. Let's open the portfolio, and while that opens, says, "Hi, Abraham. I also wanted some feedback on the music corner section of the Grandpa's office scene since you didn't go over it last time, okay? I will go over that. You reviewed my portfolio in March 2023, and I'm finally finishing the AC unit asset. I've had a few setbacks with this model, would love your feedback. The bottom piece is decimated in around 11k tries. I retopologized by hand using Quadro and got it down to 3k, that's fine. But the old forms didn't feel as solid as the 11k. Yeah, that's usually the case. The less topology, the less forms you're gonna have. I might make another version of this with a more basic bottom piece with a lower polygon count and a version without the rusted textures. I mainly want to show that I can make complex shapes. I follow Emil Slicker's tutorial for this, but did model something different. I always appreciate your help." Let's take a look. So on the Grandpa's office, you mentioned that you wanted my review on the corner, in the music box corner, which I believe is this part right here. Let's see. Did I miss a piece on this one? So my main, yeah, I actually don't remember all of this. So I might have skipped over some of this stuff. So my main advice with this one was the simplicity of the models. Like models were very simple, like this one right here, like the frame. This frame is just a box, right? Throw in a couple bevels. Just throw in a couple bevels, divide this piece right here. Let me actually show you real quick. So there is very, very easy ways to do frames and make them look a little bit nicer than just a square box. And I know that there are frames. I actually have like a couple of frames over here with my family that are very, very minimalistic, very simple. But you will very, very roughly find or rarely find like super precise cuts like this. Also, remember, we've talked about this before. The grain of the wood should always go in the longest direction, okay? So let's see. So same thing for like this, guys, like the grain of the wood. Make the models a little bit more complex because right now the bookshelves look very simple. Same for the books, they look a little bit simple. So that's something that we can definitely improve. Let's go here. Let me show you real quick. So if you guys want to do a frame that looks really nice and really clean, do the following. You grab a cube, you go into the faces, you extrude the faces in to get like the desired size of the cube, something like this. You bridge to cover this, or you can do a cylinder, whichever works best. I'm gonna grab this guy, and this guy, and I'm gonna say edit mesh, detach. There we go. And then edit mesh, separate. And that will separate all of the elements into different like sections, as you can see right here. I'm gonna grab all of the sections and say mesh, fill hole, which will fill the corners. So as you can see, they're now filled. And now I'm gonna grab all of them together and I'm gonna bevel them. Actually, I'm gonna grab the two opposite sides, combine, and then these two opposite sides and combine. Grab both of them and then bevel, which is gonna bevel the whole edges. Change the fraction to, let's say, 0.2 to divisions, and then same thing here, 0.2 to divisions. And look at the difference, right? How long was that? 2 minutes? 1 minute? And we get a frame that looks way, way better. And then we can combine it again, for instance. If we want to add a little bit more like detail, look at this. I'm going to go to my cut tool. I'm going to add a 60%, 60%, 60%, 60%. There we go. Let's add another one at like, I don't know what that was, but 50% was it? 60% again. 60%. 60%. And then we select the whole edge loop on all 4 sides. Control E, a little bit of offset, and push this a little bit up or down, whatever. And there we go. Look at that. We get a very nice, like, we can definitely improve that. We can add some like support edges and stuff, but you get a very nice frame that's gonna look a little bit more interesting. It can hold textures a little bit better, and in general, you're gonna have something that looks a little bit more presentable. So that's the kind of stuff that you want to spend a little bit more time in whenever you're designing anything. Now, I imagine you probably took this from your own life. Like, I mean, like this is probably your grandpa's office, like your actual grandpa's office. So take pictures of all of the different elements that he has. There we go. Yeah, we got the reference here. So you can see how the complexity of the furniture is a little bit higher, right? That's the kind of stuff that we need to push in order to get something that looks a little bit better, okay? Now on the AC unit, which is the other one that you mentioned, this is a really nice result. I do think like the shininess of this part right here, the roughness or the color of the metal is a little bit too dark. It looks weird. I'll probably change it because you can see the light reflects here and it looks nice here, but then on certain angles it looks very dark and it doesn't help the metal. I'm not sure where you're rendering this. It seems like it's Unreal Engine 5, so changing the rendering might be a little bit better. Now I'm not sure why you mentioned that the bottom part is taking you that many triangles. I'm not sure if it's the bottom part, if it's this thing right here, which is the rings. But yeah, anytime you have something that's very round, like all of these elements, you're definitely gonna have a lot of polygons. So this is a nice model. The texture is nice. Like the rust looks really cool, really clean. So I like that one. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, yeah. I can definitely see why you have so many polygons right here. Yeah. So you want to capture all of this. Usually in games you don't do this. Like you don't capture all of these details. It's captured on the normal map. And you usually what you do is let's go to paint. So imagine this is like the AC unit. If you have your like that lid right here, then yeah, it's gonna look very off that that's perfectly flat. But if you create your AC unit and then you bring this inside of the silhouette like this, right? Since we have a little bit of space right here, then the normal map helps like sell the effect a little bit better, and you don't see that much of an issue. So yeah, good job, man. Keep it up, and I'm waiting to see more stuff in the upcoming months. Let's go now with Sudhir Panjani. Panjani, yep. Hey, Abraham, I'm a 3D character artist from Nepal. Hope to get some feedback from you. ArtStation, more here. Okay, let's open ArtStation. I've been thinking about getting this, my friends, and let me know in the comments if I should get this. So, Scratch World Map. They sell these things where you can buy a huge like planet, or it's just a world with all of the countries, right? And then you can scratch off the countries that you've visited. Now, I'm not huge into traveling. I like traveling, but it's not like my favorite hobby or anything. But I think it would be interesting to have this map like back here, like where Thor is right now, and I can scratch out every country where there's at least one student. What do you guys think? Should I get this one for the studio here, and let's do a little bit of a survey to see where everyone is from? That would be, I think that would be really, really cool. So let me know in the comments if you like that. So Sudhir, Chandra, and Jenny, we have 3 characters right here. We have this first one, which is a nice, cool, like Doctor Strange Spider-Man. Okay, so render-wise, it looks okay. It looks nice. I think the cape looks a little bit low poly on the texture. You can see that it looks very pixelated, very like low poly. You definitely want to have at least a 4K texture for the cape because the surface area that the cape has is really, really big. So I would probably change that. I like the magic ring, that looks cool. The eye of Agamotto looks cool. Even the suit looks really nice, I would say. The expression is nice. The lighting is nice. So I think mainly my feedback for this one would be the cape. I think the cape can definitely be improved. And then we got Baba Yaga, Keanu Reeves. Nice. We're close on the likeness. Not perfect, but we're close. Like I can definitely tell that this is Keanu Reeves, right? And that's a good sign, because if you see something and you don't know who the actor is, then we have a problem. Now, I would suggest taking the Sculpting Realistic Portraits course that we have. By the way, Skillshare down here, of course, for free courses. And there was one with Anthony Hopkins, and I strongly recommend that one because you might be able to capture a little bit more of the character. See, this sculpt actually is not that far from the character. I'm not sure if it's the camera angle or the textures or something, because this sculpt actually looks really close to Keanu. Maybe it's the hair as well. Maybe in like improving that a little bit more. But it's a nice portrait. I do think that the skin looks a little bit too saturated. I think that would be my main feedback. And the hair looks very groomed. The beard does not look as sorry, as long. So if we take a look at John Wick, you can see that he usually has like the beard is a little bit longer, maybe not longer, but maybe just like scruffier. I'm not sure if that makes sense. Like just a little bit less neat and a bit thicker. I think thicker is also important because it does feel like it's a little bit thin compared to his hair. Also, take a look at the hair on the film. You can see it's a lot longer. Like it goes all the way down to like the color. And here on yours, it's a little bit shorter. So that's the kind of stuff that we need to be a little bit more nitpicky about. And I can see that you know the workflow because you're using Extra and everything, which is great. So just modify a little bit of these curves. Again, maybe add a little bit of noise on the hair on top. Maybe add another system here on the very border so you get some a little bit like a flyaway hairs to get a nicer effect. Because again, I feel like your sculpt was actually quite nice. So it's the hair that might not be selling the character as nicely, and maybe the saturation on the skin, because you can see he's a little bit paler, right? Like he's not as orangey. I know there are certain like takes like this one right here, but that's a little bit more cinematic, photographic. Like you can see this one right here, very pale, right? So by bringing the intensity or the hue down a little bit, you might be able to get a nicer result. So yeah, that's the one, and there was a final one, which is like an ogre. Okay. Yeah, I can definitely tell that you went a little bit heavier on the skin details on this one. But here, I think one of the things that we're missing is a little bit more definition or variation on the skin texture because it looks very plasticky in general. Like you don't see the dryness of the paint, for instance. You don't see the dryness of some folds of the skin. It looks like it's like very uniformly wet. That's something that I would probably change. Sculpting wise, like this sculpt right here, it's really good. It has proper forms and everything, so I would not change that. It's probably the texture because again, the color looks good. It's maybe the roughness where we need to improve things a little bit. This is great. I love this sort of like making offs. This is nice. Great form, man. I love your form. Really nice construction. Yeah, so again, I think the texturing, but mainly on the roughness. It could be that, or it could be the lighting as well. I'm not sure I'm not sure where you're rendering. Marma said, okay, yeah, maybe play a little bit with more contrast on the light. Or you know what, subsurface. We're definitely missing a little bit of subsurface. I'm not sure if you were able to add subsurface to the character, but that's something that I would add. Yeah, try to use those advices, my friend. And if you want, update your stuff, and I'll see it next month as well. So that was Sudhir. Let's go with Sabine. Hey Abraham, I'm a 3D character artist from Turkey. Yeah, there you go. See, now we can get more scratches for our map if we get the map. I hope to get some feedback from you. I started to add 3Ds. I started 3D 7 months ago. I'm using ZBrush, Blender, and Substance Painter. Okay, let's take a look. Cool. Cool. Nice. Okay. Yeah. So first of all, my friend, you don't need to upload everything to your ArtStation, especially if you're just starting. You mentioned that you have 7 months in 3D, which is fine. Everyone starts somewhere. You don't need to update everything because remember that ArtStation is supposed to be your best pieces, right? So some of these pieces are maybe exercises or just tests that you're doing. You might want to keep those for like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, stuff like that. Here, you should only have the best of the best. This haul right here, I think it's a good piece. Like, it's not perfect. It has some issues, some texture issues, some scale issues, but it's not bad. I like the result that you were able to get. You got some nice details going on. Like I can see the sculpting and the bevels and stuff. So that's cool. And you were able to capture a nice render, which is not easy. Not a lot of people can get some nice renders when they first start 3D. So that's a good piece. Now, character-wise, there's definitely some anatomy that we need to study. I have several courses as well here down here in Skillshare that you can check out regarding anatomy. Because, for instance, this is a very common mistake when people do characters. They place the hands facing forward like this. Like this. That's not normally how we model. Usually we model the characters with the hands facing inwards. And there's like the biceps here don't look great. The arms don't look great. The hands don't look great. So there are things that I would definitely change on the characters. The weapon is fine. This is a nice exercise. It could definitely be improved on the texturing side of things and on the rendering side of things, but this is not a bad start. I actually think you might benefit quite a bit from the new course that I was announcing, the AAA prop games or AAA like prop for games creation course. So if you want to check it out, go for it. But yeah, if not, if you want to do a little bit more character related stuff, again, I do have several character courses where we go over character anatomy, because there's several proportion things that we need to work out to get a better result. If you want to go a little bit stylized, we got like the blender, like gladiator blender course, and I can see you're improving. Like for instance, the chest right here on this guy looks a little bit better. Even some of the props look a little bit better, and that's why I was mentioning it's not necessary for you to have everything here on your portfolio. Just upload once you have some stuff that looks good. Usually when people ask me how long would it take me to be an artist that could get a job, it's usually about 2 years. You can definitely do it sooner, but in general, I would say the average amount of time that you need to practice and improve your art is roughly about 2 years. Okay, so keep pushing at it, my friend, and I hope to see more of your stuff in the upcoming months as well. So that was Savine. Let's go with Rifat Saman. Hi, Abraham. Hope you have a good day. I'm Rifat Saman. I want to be character artist. Hope to get a fruitful feedback. Let's take a look. Hey, this is good. This is good. Nice. Okay. Okay. So again, right at the bat, really good stuff. I would probably take a couple of this out, like this 3 things right here. They're not really helping your character portfolio because they're like varied. This guy's right here. Again, it's fine. There are a couple of things like on the hands and the feet that look a little bit weird. It looks like an empty scene, so I'll probably take that little girl out. I would keep this Kratos. I've talked about this before. Whenever you do a fan art, even if it's this sort of like style, fan arts usually get you like exposure and likes, so they're always good. And I can see some good progress over here, like this armor right here, Sharim. I don't know what Sharim is from. It's not bad. Now, what we need to check is, and this will be an important thing for you to try, is to maybe rig this character. Like, can it work for a game? Or is it just in a sculpture? Because it's not the same to do a really nice sculpture than it is to do something that works for a game. The Seductress right here. Not bad, man. Nice hair cards. Again, we can break up a little bit on the border of the hair because you can see a really like intense line, especially here. See that? That line right there looks a little bit too intense on the hair cards. Careful with the cloth. The cloth needs to make sense. And I know that you're going for this sort of like succubus sort of stuff, like a seductress, right? So, but it makes like the bra right now makes no sense because it would fall out because it's like unclasped down or back here. So make sure everything connects and everything feels like she's wearing it and not just like floating. Just the small little details. Proportion wise, you definitely went a little bit thicker on the hips. I would probably reduce this little thing right here, which is we sometimes call that the lop handle. And it's not because that doesn't exist, because of course that exists. Actually, this is a very, I would say, it's not like the standard of beauty that we normally see in video game characters. So I like the fact that you went for something that looks a little bit more realistic in certain areas. But again, like you can see how it like clips right there. So that's the kind of stuff that you want to be careful about. But this render is not bad, not bad. So I think this is a nice character. I would definitely keep that one. Now here's the interesting thing. Then you add this thing right here, Casino Padium, which is not bad. But if you want to be a character artist, this is the sort of stuff that you don't really need to add. What I would do is I would do a character and place a character inside this this like podium instead of the car, because you want to be known as the character artist guy, right? So this Joker is good. I like this. Well, not a little bit, quite a bit dense on the cloth. The skin or the face, that's expected. Like that sort of level for a character nowadays is normal, is again expected. But this is way too much polygons for the cloth. You don't need as many. So definitely bring those down. Unless you're doing displacement. In that case, then it's fine. Or were you doing? No, because you're doing marmoset. So yeah, you don't need that many elements. Now you can see the hair. This is not hair cards. This is now Xgen. So these are like actually it's an actual hair system. And yeah, like the difference from hair cards to a hair system is always impressive. So this one looks a little bit, well, not a little bit, quite a bit better. So congratulations on that one. And yeah, the forms on the face, very, very nice. I'm not sure if you, well, I guess you were trying to go for a Heath Ledger like likeness. The Joker is very recognizable, but I don't really see Heath Ledger here, so I'm not sure if you were going for him or not. You might want to again take a look at the what's the word? At the character likeness course to capture the likeness a little bit better. Mumpish. Mumpish is the portrait of my wife. Okay, created within love. Okay, yeah, that's really nice. Very realistic, which is great. Careful here with the skin, though. You can see that we lost the skin on her neck. So she goes from this very like natural and clean look on her face to this like yellowish hue. I'm not sure if that's what you were going for. But if it's not, then that's something that definitely needs to be improved. This is a great portrait, by the way. The topology is great. Everything's is working nicely, and this progress right here is great to see how you managed to capture her likeness. The hair also looks way better. I can definitely see that you're getting the hang of action a lot better. And then Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Okay, I'm not aware of who he is, but it looks very realistic. We're now competing with MetaHuman. That's the thing. Like as character artists, now we're competing with MetaHuman that can create like super amazing things very fast. But our job's not really gonna go away because there's always gonna be like stylized things and other things that we might need to capture. I think you definitely nail his likeness. Like based on that reference board, I think you're really close. The texturing also looks really nice. I'm actually really impressed that you're getting these nice renders from Arnold. That's great. I do think you went a little bit heavy on the saturation on the colors, like the green and the red on his eyes look a little bit too intense. I would probably lower that down, but I would need to see a little bit more reference from him to see whether or not that was the intention. But yeah, this is great, man. Now here's another thing. I can see that you have a really nice like skill with portraits. We need to keep on improving on the bodies. So I would probably suggest that you do a full character, doing a full body at this level, like cinematic level, because that will give you a really nice portfolio piece as well. And once you do that, you need to go back and go over like armor and props and things like that, because it's not very like, especially in games, you're usually going to be doing characters with a lot of stuff on top of them, right? So yeah, that's it. That's great. Bangladesh. There we go. Another point for our map. Cool. We're gonna do one more. We're gonna do Ulises Jimenez, and then we're gonna leave the rest of this guys for tomorrow. And again, if you're watching this and you want to participate, you might still have a chance. So make sure to check the link and see if the submissions are open. If they are, submit. It's free. I'm here, happy to help. So let's say, hey Abraham, my name is Ulises Jimenez. I'm from New York and have been studying 3D since 2020. Ideally, I'd like to be a 3D journalist, but if I had to choose one thing, I'd like to get into cloth simulation creation. Okay. Anyway, your courses have made me improve so much through my 3D journey. This series made me want to create an art station, and although I don't have much work to show yet, I will continue to create more. Let's take a look. Nice. Fresh Meadows, United States. Okay, let's take a look. So, Air Jordan. Not bad, but the proportions are a little bit off. And this is something, I'm not a huge like sneaker fan or anything, but I've seen a lot of Air Jordans. And you can tell like how long, how big, how like specific parts of the Air Jordans are. And I can definitely tell that the proportions are a little bit off. Texturing wise, rendering wise, and modeling wise, it's really good. But we need to be very careful about proportions because we are capturing the element and trying to be as like precise as possible. So if you could go back and fix the proportions, that would be great because anyone that sees this identifies the Jordan, but again, the proportions are a little bit off and it makes it look a little bit weird as well. Another thing is, rendering wise, I think the colors or the light is very flat. You can see that usually on the promotion for these things, it's very bright lights. Like, see how intense the white is right here. And right now, everything's very muted. Like this white, it's supposed to be white, looks more like gray, right? So increasing the exposure on your key light might be very important for this particular render right here. And then we got Squirtle. Nice, not bad. This is not bad. It's a simple project, but it's a fun project. And you did the whole marmoset thing. Let's see. Because here's where I can really analyze things and see how you managed to create the elements. Okay. So proportions-wise, I think you nailed this one a little bit better. I know you went for this sort of like Detective Pikachu effect where it's a little bit more realistic, which is, it's fine. Careful with this sort of stuff. Like, I'm not sure if you rigged the tail. I'm gonna see that in the topology in just a second. Yeah, it seems like you did rig the tail. So careful with the weights here if you're using weights because you have like that like crazy vertex right there. And careful with the overlaps. We want to try to avoid those overlaps as much as possible. Let me see. Can I get in there? There you go. There's the tail. So yeah, just like smoothing or doing something there. Topology wise, everything seems fine, to be honest. Like, it's a nice quad organized topology. The face has nice animation loops and everything, the mouth. So yeah, this is good. I really don't have much to say about the topology. Texturing wise, I would probably add some more bright spots. Everything again seems very like dull or not as intense in the highlights as you could make it. But in general, it's not bad. Not bad. So that's good. let's go for the final one. Mass Effect inspired sci-fi armor. Okay, now here you went it the other way around. It's very exposed, it's overexposed, so we're blowing out the colors, and it's a little bit difficult to see how clean or not the model is because the light is very, very intense. The low poly is fine, but again, the way you're gonna know whether or not this thing actually works is by actually rigging it. Try to rig it if you can and see how it deforms, because here's where you might see that there's a lot of overlaps or a lot of things that are crashing with each other, and that might not be exactly what you want. For a 3D print, yeah, it can work. For a render like this, it can work, but usually we want this to work for production, so we need to make sure that this thing can move, deform, and animate properly. So yeah, that's it, Ulysses, or Ulysses. I'm not sure if you have any Latin ascendancy, but don't worry, it's fine. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this one, guys. I'm gonna stop the video right here, and tomorrow we're gonna continue with the Voldy. So Voldy, if you're watching this, don't worry, I'll get you tomorrow. And if you guys want to submit, make sure to submit before, like, I don't know, like when you see this video for the next like 12 hours, you're probably gonna be able to submit. Okay. So yeah, that's it, my friends. Thank you very much. Again, remember, if you want to support the channel, if you want to help us grow and allow us to keep on teaching, of course, leave a comment, leave a share, like, subscribe, check out our promotions. The premium courses are, of course, our main way to get all of the necessary support so that we can continue doing this. And make sure to check the Discord channel as well. That's it for now, guys. I'll see you back tomorrow. Bye-bye.